here we are. As you can see, the chair next to me is empty because she is doing yard work. So there she is. There she is. She'll be here in a minute. First thing I would like to talk to you guys about today is the proper application of sunblock when you go outside in the lovely Florida weather. Make sure that you make sure to remember your hands and get sunblock on them. See that? Judgment. Absolute judgment. So while Lauren is finishing up our outside task for the day, instead of me doing it, I want to talk to you guys about something. Lauren,
what?
Did you hear that the CDC now says that they believe with some certainty that Corona came from a lab in China?
Oh, we didn't already know that?
Apparently not. Apparently we did not already know that. I guess we're millions and millions and billions of dollars on figuring this out when they didn't actually know ahead of time that that was the case.
Well, it started in Ohio and in Washington from airlines.
That's true.
So it definitely came from somewhere. Is mine?
Yes, it is. Everyone? Lauren, everyone? Malibu.
Not
Hard work.
what?
Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
So, yeah, the thing I wanted to talk to you today about and see what your thoughts were is just a discussion of what it is like being married to a guy who was in the Army that's going to Afghanistan and what it's like being on the other side versus just the continued veteran discussion and prepper discussion that I always have. So, tell me what your thoughts are on that. What's it like?
It's a damn good thing you married a strong, independent person.
True.
Because that's what it took. It took
True.
me being completely independent with 2 kids at the time, working as a therapist, and being the husband and the wife for a year.
Cheers.
It's not hard if you are already independent. If you already feel like you can manage on your own without having to rely on somebody else every day, which I still relied on you emotionally. We still saw each other on Skype. Every day. I don't think it exists anymore.
Yeah, I think Zoom and Microsoft Teams took over for all that. I think Skype's just kind of like MySpace.
Somebody buy it up, MySpace.
Yeah, it's like MySpace. I saw a thing on Facebook. It was like a 14-year-old kid that was like, I would love if there was a social media platform where I could like play the music I like for my friends and have like a cool background. And I'm just like, I believe that is called MySpace. That existed before Facebook. So maybe everything does go in a circle.
Like, what's Facebook?
Yeah, right. Like maybe everything does go in a circle.
I was told again 2 nights ago by a 26-year-old that Facebook is like non-existent now. Nobody uses Facebook anymore. Except me.
Yeah, except for us. I had somebody at the store tell me that. Somebody told me that Facebook is only used by old people, and I'm like,
old.
wait a minute. Did you just call me old? Like, I don't understand. Facebook doesn't make me old. I mean, it's not like
luckily Facebook is now automatically connected to Instagram, so I'm just like 10 years younger by proxy.
Just by default, we're instantly. It's not like we're like, oh, cool. I'll just go on AOL Instant Messenger.
Quit digging, I just fixed that. Get up.
Remember that? AOL Instant Messenger?
Dogs.
That would make you old.
Quit it.
Yeah, AOL Instant Messenger would make you old. So, what was
I forgot about that.
Yeah, AOL Instant Messenger. Boop-bing. Remember that?
I do still have a Hotmail account.
Yeah, me too.
Several of my patients have Hotmail accounts. I'm like, oh, you have Hotmail?
You have Hotmail. You're old. You're from the beginning of the internet. What do you think your biggest takeaway from me being gone was?
That I didn't want you gone. It made me completely not take our relationship for granted because I had to do it by myself and I had to live without you there. And having a marriage, like a fundamental emotional connection with someone from the other side of the world, is very difficult. You have to do a lot of inner searching and relying on a higher power that you hope is there, that you hope is helping you, which I saw every day, that evidence of that helping me, because there's no way I did that on my own. But just, and it wasn't all about me, it was about the kids. So
yeah, that makes sense.
You're working towards a goal that is higher than yourself, and you be focused on yourself and survive. That's another kind of survival, I suppose, emotional.
Yeah, for sure, because I mean, You look at the statistics on deployments effect on marriage, it's like 65% of
Or
marriages
higher. I think it's
fail.
higher
And
now.
it's higher now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, based on the number of deployments that people are making, wouldn't surprise me if the numbers are like 80.
Well, the deployments are coming back down now since we aren't officially in Afghanistan anymore. Yeah, still something going on over there. I don't know what it is, but we're not officially deploying anymore. So I'm hoping that's getting better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know the statistics on it specifically.
One of the funniest things. Hello. One of the funniest things that is, Michelle said hi. She said bestie.
Hi, bestie.
One of the funniest things that I can remember from the deployment is also like one of the most macabre and not okay to other people, which was the time that I was Skyping with you and the girls and started getting attacked.
That was wonderful.
It was, yeah,
Why are we
it was
into
just
the bed?
like, it was just like, I'm just typing away and talking to the girls and like, how was your day? How's everything going? Is everything great? Wonderful, outstanding, everything's fine. And then the alarm goes off. It's like, burnt, boom. And I was like, let's go ahead and take the computer.
Yeah, you were trying to act like I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, is
what are those
this
loud
bad?
noises? Nothing. There's nothing to see. Somebody slammed the door. Oh, we have another
Wait a
special
minute, what?
guest.
Hi, Tacey.
Another special guest,
Hi, Tacey.
part of our life. Mr. Tennessee has decided that he would like to, come on, big boy,
No. Now they're all
introduce
gonna come
yourself
over
to the
here.
universe. Here he is. This is Mr. Tennessee.
Jealousy.
Yeah, and his son, Kentucky. So they, yeah, they're going to be.
Jealous. You better
We were
let-
talking about putting them inside for this, or if we were going to leave them outside. And Lauren was like, they are a huge part of our life. You might as well leave them here for it. Yeah, there we go. Great. But yeah, that was the like memory that I have of the deployment was when we were talking on Skype as the mortars were landing all around the base and everything. And it was just trying to not let on to her. You know, I don't want to come home every single day and be like, yeah, cool, almost got killed today. Guy shot an RPG at us and it barely missed, but hey, we're okay. You
I
know,
already
so
knew that was happening every day, so you saying it didn't make any difference. Like, I had to come to grips with my own worry and be able to give that away, to let that go, because I could worry about everything. I mean, you could have got cut and got bacteria infection and died from it. Wouldn't have mattered. You weren't with me. So I couldn't have done anything either way. Didn't matter.
that'd have been the dumbest way to die in Afghanistan.
But it almost happened to you.
I've died of a paper cut.
Well, you did have surgery in Afghanistan and it didn't turn out so well.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't recommend anybody have surgery.
Probably not the best choice I've ever made. I've made better decisions. It happens. I've made worse. So what was it like when we got up at 4:30 in the morning and you had to just go drive me to the hangar and drop me off
I
for the...
remember that. Vaguely. I just remember being so busy and exhausted from trying to prepare for you to be gone. I didn't even know how to prepare for you to be gone. And I know a lot of military spouses out there right now go through this every day. They're just living in this perpetual place of, oh, my spouse is leaving again tomorrow, and I mean, they may be only gone for 2 weeks, but you still have to put yourself back into that mentality of, okay, here's my routine. I have to be disciplined, emotionally, spiritually disciplined in order to wait for them to come back. I have to make sure that I've got my mind on the end game, the end goal, and you never really come out of it, honestly. Like, even whenever you were no longer deployed, when you were home flying EMS, it was the same thing. I wouldn't see you for 2 weeks at a time. So it wasn't really any different. You still have to just go on with your life and know that the moon is still in the sky. It's not going anywhere.
It's true. Do you think that is the secret to success, so to speak?
I don't think there is any secret. I think you bear down and work hard every day of your life. I am an occupational therapist. That is the goal. God put us on this earth to work. That's what you're meant to do. You have to fulfill occupation, whether it be vocational, whether it be just hobbies, whatever it is. You have to have some form of occupation to keep you going every single day. And you can't, honestly, you can't live for someone else. You have to live for a common goal. And so you were part of my goal, but it allowed me to separate from you a little bit and continue on with life.
That makes sense.
Well, I hope so, since it worked.
Yeah, true.
It's not like there
fair
was
enough.
a handbook. There was an Army wife guide, but it didn't teach me much about anything other than cutlery.
I think that's the hardest part that there is about the Army and its structure, and I saw, you know, the military spouses are the unsung hero, and they really are, because there is no guidebook. You know, there is no plan for how you deal with somebody leaving, and a lot of times you run into situations where a lot of the spouses don't have a whole lot in common with you. Please elaborate on the story of California. That was so funny.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I am
That was like
talking
20 years ago.
about
I don't know what you're talking
when you joined the FRG and they were discussing using bath towels.
Oh, as diapers
Yeah.
for their children. I'm like,
Whoa.
dude,
So
Walmart's got diapers.
we
Just
get
go buy 'em.
to Fort Irwin, and one of the first things they always do when you get to a new base is they kind of plug you in with the family readiness group, who just kind of will fill you in on what life is like there, where the best places to go are, where you should look to find a house, all this stuff. So I, of course, had to fly, so I couldn't go, because that's what the Army does when these things happen. So Lauren went for both of us, and the first topic of discussion was what?
Well, they were. Let me back up. They were trying to do good for the environment, trying to be green. They were trying to do, yeah, but at the cost of their own mental health. Honestly, it just like added so much more complexity to an already difficult situation when as a military, when you're dealing with children and a house, and they all had pets. Like they all had maximum. Most of them still worked in the community. Like it maximum worry, and just trying to wash diapers on top of that was just something that I wasn't prepared to do. But
No,
all power to them.
not
I mean,
happening.
they were
That's so not great.
They were all in. They were trying to do the best and be super mom, and I mean, I strive for that too. It's just
Which is cool. I'm
sometimes you
not
gotta
throwing
let-
diapers in the washing machine.
No,
Nope.
then I gotta burn my
I
washing
don't
machine.
care how green
No.
you want to be. There's no way baby poop's going in my washing machine.
Well, that's not how you do it. You wash it out, and then but then you've got to have that like a utility sink or something and bleach, but then the bleach is bad for the environment. So
Hard pass.
yeah, I don't know.
Still hard pass.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think that's
I don't know anything about diapers anymore. I haven't done that for
thank
years.
God it's over. But that's the thing that's so tough about it is the Army gives you a guidebook, but the guidebook is how to act when you go to the Army. They give you this guidebook, but it's like when you go to formal Army dinners, here's how she should dress and how she should
I was like, your wife.
respond to the commanding
What?
officers, and I was kind of like, interesting.
Why
That
does
is-
this book
that
say
is
Army
interesting.
wife? Why doesn't this say Army spouse? That was very offensive.
It's pretty funny though.
I know a lot of women in the military who would find that very offensive.
And the thing that was funny about it, there's all this stuff, but then there was nothing about, it was like, okay, cool. So when you go to formal Army dinners, here's the fork that you should use first. There was no way when your husband deploys, if, for instance, I don't know, he has a tragedy at home and you have to get a hold of him, here's the best way to go about
I
that.
figured that out.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, my dad passed away while I was deployed, so Lauren had to, on her own, totally figure out how to get a hold of me and let me know, oh, by the
I had
way,
some
you need to
paperwork
get
that
home.
they'd
So
given me at some point.
yeah, so it's really
So I dug through all that and figured it out at
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning.
With your
yeah.
mom screaming at me
Yeah,
and the other
I believe that,
Yeah, it was a trying
Pretty stressful.
time, but
Yeah.
we made it.
without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm just glad that you had good people around you at the time that helped you, supported you while you were there, because that was a terrible, difficult situation for you and your mom and your brother and
Yeah.
your whole family. And I don't even know how you guys survived. And then you turned around and went back. So
Yeah, going back was the hard part. Fort Irwin is not very welcoming. No, that's true. The worst part about Fort Irwin was the first day we had to go when you get off of I-15 and make that turn through Barstow and you get headed up toward the base. It's like this
I was like, where are we?
20-mile
Can we change
long,
our station,
2-lane
please?
road that is like 50 miles an hour, and there is nothing on either side except for like scrub brush and
It's
desert.
like, I
It
am
is-
not living here.
I told Lauren when we made the turn, I was like, if I don't make it to heaven, I'll be driving on this road for the next 10,000 years. Like, that's how purgatory this crap is.
You know what they say
Like-
about Joshua trees?
Yeah, they're the gates to hell.
Heaven and hell. They're only grow in 2 places on the earth, Joshua trees.
What a
Hell.
coincidence. They're on both sides.
The other ones are in Israel, so I don't think that's the hell.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
So the other big thing I wanted to talk with you today about is a lot of people hear occupational therapist, and what do they think?
They think that I help people find jobs.
Yeah, that's the first thing I
do
thought
workers'
too.
comp.
Was that your job was to like, hey, Lauren, I hate my job, make me hate it less.
Well, I mean, I will
Let's
anyway.
get some therapy and help me. This occupational, like you think occupation job, therapy.
That's vocational rehab. But
vocational.
But I do workers' compensation cases, so it is associated with you back to your job.
Tell me what it is.
But so occupational therapy is it's a form of rehab. It's a therapeutic use of exercise, therapeutic activities, what we call ADLs, activities of daily living. And basically it's trying to address goals that are trying to get you back to normal life, back to whatever your occupations were. That could be eating, that could be taking a bath, that could be cleaning the house, all of that stuff. Those are all considered occupations. Now I work in outpatient therapy. So where I used to be in home health and skilled nursing, it was more based in like your self-care and you're being able to get out of bed and get up and get to the bathroom, all of that kind of stuff. The difference between what I would do and what physical therapy would do was, for some reason, we cut the body in half, and even though I still work on balance in that setting, I would do more upper body, upper extremity, cognitive, like sensory ability, visual sensation, like visual perception, visual motor, all of those types of things in that setting. And the physical therapist would do more of the lower body, strengthening, gait analysis, balance training, that kind of stuff. Now I work specifically with hands, so kind of shoulder down in the outpatient clinic. And I'm the only one at the moment. So if you need an appointment, 2 weeks in advance.
2 weeks. One of the things I've talked about a bunch on the channel too is it seems like the Democrats more specifically are kind of weaponizing the fear of Medicare and Medicaid coming to an end. What do you see in your portion of practice? Anything attributed to that? Like, are there decreasing the number of appointments that are allowed or decreasing the amount of time that you're getting with patients? Because that's what they're saying. They're saying, oh my God, the Republicans are going to kill Medicare, they're going to kill Medicaid, they're going to kill Social Security. Oh my God, it's all going to end. Is that a real deal, or is it just them trying to scare old people to vote Democrat?
Honestly, Medicare revamps its system once every 3 years. So I don't have any idea why they do this. I don't know if it's because people need jobs and they keep coming up with new ideas, so they just redo everything. I don't know. As far as Medicare being there and being a source of reimbursement for my patients, I don't see it going anywhere, and it still is the best insurance out there. So if you can be on Medicare, please do. Yeah, for real. Like, especially in the skilled nursing, where we were in Mississippi in the skilled nursing facilities. Patients who were on Medicare always got the longest treatment. They got the treatment for the longest period of time as far as them staying in the facility, because it was based purely on what the therapist believed the patient needed. It was based on, we have this much money and that's all you get. You only get this many visits, that's it, which is a lot of private insurance, a lot of PPO, HMO. They limit you to a certain number of visits in a calendar year. Whereas Medicare does not do that. They base it on what your physician says you need and what your therapist says you need. So I may not be answering your question, but I think Medicare is amazing.
Like you're answering the question.
It's amazing. Medicaid usually does not cover any therapy services. There are special occasions for that, like the age of 18, Medicaid can jump in, but it kind of depends if you qualify. I know there's early intervention, 0 to 3, where Medicaid will cover some services and different types of services in home health. But as far as those programs going away, they are the best we have. They are the reason that I'm glad we live in America, because without those programs, our geriatric populations would not be where they are. They would not be as independent as they are. They would not get the services they need. So I'm all for Medicare.
So what percentage of, other than with us being here and it being so much TRICARE for life and stuff like that?
A lot of active duty TRICARE and TRICARE for life.
What percentage other than those would you say qualifies as the...
Like how many people are...
And the dogs. Squirrel. This is my life.
Yeah. No,
there it is.
The neighbor dog came outside.
There it is. Every day.
Kentucky.
What percentage would you say other than federal service
I
people
would
are.
say in outpatient too, my case mix is probably 50% Medicare, 40% TRICARE and other, because we live here by Eglin and there's VAs, there's Pensacola and Biloxi. So that's high, federal's higher because of that, but there are very few HMOs, PPOs, and probably 20% work comp and the rest is the HMO, PPO, but I would say majority Medicare and
So I
federal.
mean, that's the thing. Like, I wonder. They keep talking about. That's one of their biggest speaking points continuously is Republicans are going to cut Social Security. They're going to cut Medicare, Medicaid. They're going to let them sunset to where they just disappear and die. It doesn't sound like there's a better plan in place whatsoever. I mean, I don't think there's anything they can do that will be better than that.
It's going to take some serious revamping if you're going to do away with Medicare, because all of the other insurances base what they do on Medicare. All of their rules and regulations, all of their billing criteria are based on the Medicare system. So that's essentially the baseline. But I can't even imagine a world without Medicare in it.
So obviously, there's no way they can make that happen. I mean, it's just not.
There's no way that it would ever go away.
So it's just
It wouldn't be America if you didn't have that. Like, that's what we all strive for. Although I would say that pensions used to be a big deal, and now pensions are kind of going away too in the business world. So, I mean, there's always the chance that somebody will try to put something in place in order to change our system, but there has to be something to replace it. You can't just get rid of it and there's a vacuum. There's got to be something to replace it.
And it seems like that's the case with everything in the universe, where whenever there's a power vacuum, so to speak, something will always step in and take its place.
I believe that there is too much invested in Medicare at this point. I mean, it's a whole hierarchy of, as far as whenever the politicians in Washington are making decisions for Medicare, it's not just, okay, those are automatically set in stone. There's different subsidiaries of Medicare throughout the country that make their own rules. So you're not talking, oh, let's just change it all. You've got to change all these different individual companies that are making this whole program work. So it's going to be a long time in the making to revamp anything.
Do these companies, like all these secondary companies and different facets of these things, they probably have a lobby where they go to
of course they do.
Washington and just say, make it rain, everybody get your money.
Well, you know who else has lobbies? Therapists. Each state has therapy associations for occupational therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy. We also have lobbyists, and we love Medicare because that's how we get paid. So we're fighting for it.
I mean, that really makes it sound like it's just saber rattling and them trying to scare old people into voting for Democrats more than anything else. Because, I mean, both sides play it, though, because the Republicans will say, we're fighting for your Medicare, we're fighting for Medicaid, we're going to just keep it rolling, but at the same time,
they're politicians.
They'll say what they need to say to keep everything going.
Pretty much. That's the job of a politician.
It is, and I think that rolls right into the other thing that I was going to talk to you about, which is, we talked about it in church today, with the rising cost of inflation and everything just costing more, but people aren't making more. How is it, do you find a way to financial security in today's day and age? That's the other thing.
Are you asking me? Because I sure don't know.
I don't know either, but that's the question at hand, and I would love to hear what you guys think about the financial security, because maybe you could teach us something. But I think
budget. I've always relied on budget, and if you know where you're at, actually, this was part of the sermon today at Cross Point Church, Knoxville. Hey, plug.
Boom.
One of the major things is make sure you have a budget. Make sure you know what kind of money you have and disperse that money, prioritize that money in your life based on what your priorities are, and make sure that you save a little bit. Make sure that you give a little bit to your church. Of course, you have to do what God can do for the world, and I know I can't do it, so I'm definitely giving to my church too. But I mean, you got to have enough to feed your kids. You got to have enough to pay your mortgage. Just not getting into that overspending that's so popular in today's day and age. But I really would love to have more money. That would be great. But I mean, you can't make what you can't spend what you don't have, so, and you can't make it come to you, so all you can do is budget what God gives you.
I think a big part of it too is being smart with what you have. You know, I mean, you and I were talking about it like a week ago when it came to the stock market, that there's all these companies you can invest in and try to just play the lottery, just play the one-arm bandit and just make a whole bunch of money on like AMC and GameStop and all these other companies.
It's like going to Vegas. You don't know. Yeah, you better only play with what you're willing to lose.
Well, remember we talked about it when we were at Lumiere in St. Louis, that it's, and we've talked about this with some friends of ours who may or may not be watching right now, but you can always spot the guy at the blackjack table who's there to pay his rent.
Yeah.
Because he's playing very, very poorly. He's very pissed off. Every time he loses, he plays twice as stupid with the next hand.
He's the guy that throws his cards down.
Just, yeah, as soon as he loses, he's just like,
dealer.
son of a, and just acts like a jerk, and the whole table hates him. And I think that's part of it too, is making wise decisions with what you do have.
Yep.
You know, versus making some of the just bad choices going out. And interesting fact, if you are in the Army and you end up watching this and you're less than an E5, do not go buy a Camaro at 28% interest. I don't care what they say. That's a true point. That happens all the time.
Well, they give you that loan when you get in. That $25,000 loan is what it was. I don't know if it's still that, but I'm sure that's what some people do with that money.
I agree 100%. I mean, especially with the stock market as volatile as it is, only put into the market what you're prepared to lose, because if you're in the short to medium term outlook, as volatile as things are, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, the thing that's crazy about the stock market, especially now, there's so many times where a company will come out and it makes no sense. They'll say, hey, we beat top and bottom, everything was better than we projected, but not enough, so the stock just tanks.
Yeah.
But then you take like GameStop that has done garbage. They're like, hey, we're probably going to file bankruptcy.
Well,
but
people
all
are
these
playing.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They get on the internet and they're like, hey, let's make this stuff 100% over the course of 6 months.
No,
And
no
then-
lie. You've made a little money doing that.
A little bit.
Well,
Yeah, but it was money I had to lose. Because it was money made with money.
sure.
That's what I told her. Anyways,
I have the account information, okay? You're not hiding anything from me.
fair enough. But I think that applies to all facets of life, because there's so many ways that you can save money in small ways. Take that lawnmower I bought, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, say what you will, I bought a battery powered
It's awesome.
lawnmower. First thing, super cool, because you don't even need headphones. It's totally quiet.
Yeah.
I'm just out like.
Well, you're not having to worry
And-
about gas prices.
Yeah, you don't have to
you're
worry
not
about-
worried about fumes.
Yeah, all that stuff.
It doesn't stink in my garage.
There's no oil filter
Yep.
on a.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we're not mowing 7 acres anymore, though.
Granted, I would not
So
use a
we're on
push
like a
mower.
half
They
acre
make big mowers now.
In electric.
Yeah, the great big like zero
I would still
turn
be
mowers.
worried I'd be stuck on the other side of the field and it would die.
Just pissed off, the little battery's
I'll have
running
to
out.
walk
Not
back.
getting it done.
No, that happened with the gas one a couple of times because they don't have good gas gauges on it. Maybe not all the ones.
The thing's funny about it too. I was at grocery outlet. I saw a electric Jeep, and it rolled right behind me, and it sounded like the Prius, where it's just like, just right past. Super weird, because I'm used to Jeeps making a ton of racket because they're cracked.
Oh, your daughter wants one. You were just looking at buying one. Okay.
But it was super weird because it rolled right behind us, totally silent, and it's kind of like this lawnmower. But that's one of the 100 ways that you can save money. Like our Prius, I've taken a significant amount of crap over this Prius over the years.
Well, it's because you look like a clown getting out of a clown car when you get out of the Prius.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. But that's the thing. Like, it saves so much money because we were driving 250 miles a day on that thing. I mean, I think we put 300,000 miles on it in like 6 years.
Still going.
Still rolling, for the record. But how much money we save by going with a hybrid versus just a
lot.
gas power?
A lot. Yeah, a ton of money.
I did see that, speaking of electric vehicles, so the new Challenger is going to be electric.
We just saw a Mustang. What was that,
Oh
GT
yeah,
we
that
saw at
Mustang
church?
crossover thing. Let's.
Mach something. Mach E.
I don't. No. Henry Ford would be rolling over in his grave if he saw that
No,
as
he
a
would be
Mustang.
very proud of,
no,
of
he
Ford.
would not. He'd
He
be
would
disgusting.
because you got to change with the times. You're gonna survive. You got to
The
move
times
on.
don't care. It needs to sound loud and look like a Mustang. It should not look like a freaking
You're living in
Kia.
the past. We got to sell Mustangs to younger
So the
generation.
new Challenger, is going to have speakers on the outside that make it sound like a Challenger.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Unacceptable.
No,
And we're gonna have a fight between our dogs and the neighbor dog. Totally unacceptable because you're cheating the system.
Yeah, maybe.
You're cheating the system.
Maybe
A
little
muscle car should have terrible visibility, crap gas
bit. You
mileage,
shouldn't be able to breathe if you're walking behind it.
and yes, and it should be considered a problem by the EPA.
Maybe in 1970.
And today.
Well, then you can just buy an old one and get your little antique license plate on it.
You know what I'll do is I'll buy one of these new fancy Challengers. I'll pull the motor out, put a Hellcat motor in,
How about you just buy a Hellcat?
and then I'll sell the hybrid motor because they're gonna outlaw Hellcats. Anyways,
No, they're not.
no, they
No,
better
no,
not.
no.
So, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about today is,
You got a lot of questions for me.
do you have questions for me?
No.
See, no
I know
questions.
everything about you.
No, do you?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. No questions.
Tasty!
Oh, great.
Casey.
Another dog heard from. Again.
Okay. Same dog. This is the hugger.
He is.
He's
This
a
dog
hugger.
is the
He's a
most
hugger.
loving dog in the
Casey.
history of creatures.
Tasty.
like a
baby.
Which, oddly enough, is how we ended up with his son, because he's a lover. Isn't that so, sir?
No making out. Nope, we're
Yeah.
not making out on
So,
camera.
the last thing I wanted to ask you about, because I do have to drive our daughter to cheer practice here before
Oh, yeah.
long.
You got 10 minutes.
If you had, hi Justin, Lauren, hello. Awesome. The big question I wanted to ask you about, more than anything else, is in the day and age that we're living in, with the cost of inflation being as high as it is, what do you think the keys to success in family are? I mean, would it be like finding the best deals that you possibly can on shopping, like grocery outlet places like that? How do you think we make it eventually successful to just live day to day
I
life?
have always taught them that generic is just as good as brand name. Now, it's not always, but I don't tell my kids that. No. Like, you can't eat a generic Cheeto and it tastes the same as a real Cheeto. You just can't do it. But they don't know that, so I'm buying generic Cheetos and they're eating them and it's fine.
I want to know why they can't get it right.
I don't know. Well, there's probably some, like, copyright or something. You know, some patent on the Cheeto flavor.
Cheeto patent.
But anyway, just little things. Like, in the morning, I don't go to Starbucks. I make my coffee right here in my little Keurig. That's what I do every day. It's what I've done, and ever since you forced me to get a Keurig,
You're welcome.
because I liked my old coffee pot, because I could
Okay.
get 8 to 10 cups,
So-
and I needed it.
Quick timeout. Stay on the thought process. Lauren refused to switch over. She had
I don't
a
like change,
straight
okay?
up 1975 old school coffee pot
Well-
that she refused. There's no defense.
There's
to this.
nothing wrong with it. Why are
There's
we
no-
getting a new one?
There may be nothing wrong with it, but there's also no defense. So,
There is always a defense. If there's, that is my defense.
not true.
Just the same thing with when you made me get a smartphone. There's nothing wrong with my little flip phone.
Again,
It was
Lauren
just
had
like-
a 1970, probably 1989. Like, what was the name of that phone?
No, it
like
was
the,
like
the
a it
Motorola
was a
flip phone where you have to
2003.
pull out the thing and pull
I
it
did
down
not have one of
and
those.
talk.
Mine was pink, and it was adorable.
Oh, because pink make okay. Hi, Arlie.
Hi.
So, continue, please. The secrets to success. You're talking about coffee.
1 penny at a time.
Can you make this for dinner?
Come over here. So, another aspect of our existence. Come on. Our lovely daughter Arlie, who has decided she wants to come find out right now if right now would be fine for some macaroni and cheese. About 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Later,
All right. See you.
dude. Live at a zoo.
We do. I think that's a huge portion of this too. Is what you see a lot of times is so many people will gripe that they have no money, but then they pull up to Starbucks in their $80,000 car and spend $9 on a coffee.
I mean, would I have liked a new car 3 years ago? Yeah, but do I want to pay now? I gotta pay for cheer, and soccer, and twirl.
Yeah.
So
Exactly, and I think that's a big part of the play there is
Mama, am I doing soccer this year?
the other thing
Of course you are.
associated with that is there's so much
You
needless spending on things that are not important.
well, is cheer important? Not to me.
I feel like it's somewhat important to our children. But
Discipline, friend groups, yeah, it's
that's
important.
one of the things as a small business owner that frustrates me to no end
Love you
is,
guys.
love you, all these people will say, oh, well, I want to shop small and shop Well, you see them at Starbucks and not shopping and not getting their coffee from the tiny coffee place right next to us that's a
Yeah.
small business.
Yep.
And then the first thing that happens is a company goes out of business and they're the ones on Facebook saying, oh man, we love that place. Like, bro, I saw you at Starbucks every single day. You didn't go to the
There's
small
something,
local place.
and that's a whole nother conversation, like the psychology of the American buyer, because if it's not fast enough, if it's not easy enough, if it's not guaranteed, we go cheap and easy every time before we'll shop local. I mean, I'm the same way. We own a local business, and I'm the same way. If like I'm on my way to work and I didn't have time to make my coffee, am I gonna take a chance on a new local place? No, I'm gonna go to Starbucks. I know it'll be good. So it's hard.
It's unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. But what can a local business do to change that?
I mean, the only way you can fight a company like Starbucks as a coffee shop, or us as
Fight the Lushes and the Bath and Body Works out there.
yeah, all the great big companies. The only way you can do that is with customer service that's amazing. And one of the hard parts there too is you have to point 100% of the time, because
Yes.
with social media being what it is today, you make one mistake, the first thing that happens is they hop on social media and crush you to everyone who will listen.
Yes. Which is why you answer
Unforgiving.
every single.
I will answer every
they're
single.
all coming from him. If anybody says
Anytime.
anything about Magnolia,
Say anything
Silk,
about
Dustin,
Magnolia,
he's
on
the
it.
one answering it.
Every time. But I think that's the scary part about it, is that there is not enough. No. Lauren's gonna bring our other dog into this, Miss Betty. The ugliest dog I've ever had, for the record.
Baby.
She has a massive underbite, bulging eyes, whatever. But I think that's the thing that's so tough as a small business owner, is seeing how many different places go out of business, and people are all like, oh man, I love them. If you love them that much, they wouldn't have gone out of business.
Well, one person doesn't make the difference, though. I mean,
Yeah, it takes
the
genuine
whole.
local support
Yeah.
for especially a small business,
But-
because the deck is stacked against you as a small business,
really
because
is. You're still gonna pay
Chipotle
the same insurance as everybody else.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay the same rent as everybody else.
is offering people college.
I know, and they have a nation full of corporate structure to pick that up. It was really hard with what they can pay people and the benefits they can offer people. But what we can do is offer that mom and pop, support system.
Pop.
Yeah, sure, for young kids, and so that's the only reason we have employees at this point, is because they can call us. They've got our personal phone numbers, like.
I think it's a testament to it too, that we're fully staffed and turning people away, where the rest of the mall is
Yeah.
begging for anyone
Which is
and
the reason
offering
we did
more
this.
money than we
We
are.
wanted to be a different type of employer, and it takes more from us personally to be that type of
It does.
employer.
It's
But
not easy.
I want my kids to have a safe place to work. I want other people's kids to have a safe place to work, and that's hard in today's day and age, because I've been in different professional careers for big nationwide companies for 20 years. Even after 15 years of working for a company, they'll still get you for someone that comes along who's cheaper.
That's
It's
true.
just the way it is. There's no loyalty one way or the other. Not like my dad, who worked for Southwestern Bell for 30 years, and there was some loyalty there. It's just gone.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
They don't offer pensions anymore. They don't offer retirements anymore. They're taking all that away. So I don't know why the market's changing the way it is.
I think that's one of the reasons why we picked Florida too. I mean, you imagine some of these other states that are massively regulated.
Mhm.
I mean, look at Alabama, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have a privilege fee to operate in the city, one in the county. The state wants their money. I mean, everybody there has their hand out waiting for your first cut of percentage.
There wasn't anything left.
And by the time you get all the way to the end, there's nothing left over. So imagine some of these look at California. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the regulations in the state of California. How can you,
It was difficult
as
for
a small
me
business,
to
make
get
anything?
a therapy license there. Like I had to have all these extra certifications I got them, but look at, if I didn't have a nationwide employer who was willing to help me get all these certifications, I don't see how a small therapy place can survive. Because we kind of went that route, and
yeah,
I mean, there are people that are able to make it successful, but they are definitely relying on a lot of other people within them all standing up and pulling together to try to make it. It's not easy.
I can imagine running our retail store in an area where, like San Francisco, they say that out there's all these small business owners that are basically saying the cops won't respond when people rob me.
I would not be there.
No,
I would not
what?
have a store there.
No, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like,
'Cause that's our livelihood. I can't afford to be robbed.
Yeah, and
I mean, I'm out
that's
of business.
that's what there's that. Literally, there's no punishment whatsoever. People come in, just brazenly grab stuff and leave,
And then what's that going to do for the economy?
and you can't do anything about it because with
and then the people who live there, they're not going to know where to shop. So what are they going to do? I don't know.
live in the homeless camps.
Don't even go there. I don't know.
Everyone's like, we're not talking about that today.
No.
Well, it is about time to run youngest daughter, middle daughter to cheer practice.
I'm gonna
So-
get another drink.
Lauren's going to have another beverage. I will, however, not, as I am going to drive the practice, and that's not preferred. Dogs are after something. So, any parting thoughts? Anything exciting?
Good to see y'all.
Yes, thank you guys
Thanks
so
for
much
listening.
for listening to us.
We do this all the time.
Yeah, we sit outside and talk all the time, and now you get to be a part of it. So, I hope you guys had a great time and enjoyed that. Again, I would like to leave a survival tip for today, and the survival tip for today is when applying sunblock, when you may or may not be out on a boat that may or may not have all the gas it should.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Make sure to apply
We
sunblock
really were in a survival situation.
to your
yesterday. It was
palms,
great.
because palms. What's this called? Back of your back of your hand. Apply sunblock to the back of your hand.
Dorsum of the hand.
Yeah, that's the thing with Lauren. Like, I'll be like, hey, so what's this called? She's like, oh, that's the dorsal portion of your blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Yeah, that's what I say. Whatever. So that's the key, is to go ahead and make sure that you, like, everywhere else is good. Like, I'm totally fine everywhere else, just not so much the back of the hands. What is this called? The dorsal.
Dorsum.
Dorsum
Of
of
the hand.
the hand.
Yeah,
So,
whatever.
note to self today, make sure you apply plenty of sunblock to the dorsum of your hand when you're going outside in Florida, and put on,
Florida sun's a lot stronger than you think it is, even when
Yeah.
it's not sunny.
and wherever else you may be located. So thank you guys so much for watching today. We appreciate your time. Lauren's going to make herself another drink, and I'm going to go drive a kid to practice. So thank you guys so
Later.
much. We will see you later, and I'm going to reach out and turn the thing off.
Later, dude.